Hey, Stephanie here with Creating Within, your place to get in touch with your inner world. And today I want to talk to you about how not to become so overwhelmed with life and all the demands that we constantly have on a day-to-day basis. This is something that I really struggled with in the past because, one, I'm a big picture type of person, and two, I tend to attract crisis situations in my life because I work really well under pressure, and it's when I can get things done the most. So it's very easy for me to become overwhelmed in my life, especially when I always have a million things going on. And like you might be in the same situation. Last year, I really started honing in on how not to become so overwhelmed. And after my travel trip of backpacking around the world for 10 months, I really have honed in on this ability to not become overwhelmed and really take things moment to moment, because it is in the moment that everything lies. You know, in the future is great, but you can't live there because you live in anxiety, and you already know you can't live in the past because it's counterproductive. So this is the stuff that I noticed that is going to help you not to become so overwhelmed in your life. One, when you have a lot of things to do, don't focus on the whole big picture. Don't focus on everything that needs to get done because you're going to become overwhelmed. You have to break it down into chunks and take it one step at a time. And that really became my mantra last year, one step at a time. And it is in taking things one step at a time where you're going to start seeing that you're not going to have so much anxiety, because the anxiety comes when your focus is on the whole picture of everything that you need to get done. And then on top of that, you're not only thinking about everything that you need to get done, but then you're thinking about the consequences, all the things that can go wrong if you don't do all these things, you know? And that's where your thoughts get the best of you, because they start going down this loophole of negative thoughts and destructive, thought patterns of how everything's going to fall apart and how your life is just going to be a disaster. So really, you need to take a step back, handle things from where you're at, and do the best that you can in small chunks. And then when you see these thoughts coming up and giving you anxiety, you need to stop them right there, and you need to refocus your energy. If you see yourself focusing on the future and all the things that can go wrong, recognize it and pull yourself back. And this really has a lot to do with learning how to control your thoughts rather than having your thoughts control you. And I'll talk about that aspect in another video more in depth. But for now, I just want you to really hone in on the fact that breaking things down into small chunks, as simple as it sounds, a lot of us don't do it, because I didn't really do this a lot. I would have all these things that would come up last minute, and I would handle it. And I would, at the end of it, always come out on top. But through the process of it, I had so much anxiety and so much stress. And the one thing I've been working towards for a long time now is, peace is my number one thing in my life. So anything that brings me too much stress and too much chaos, I got to get rid of it. Even though life is a balance, you need a little bit of stress in your life to get your ass moving sometimes. But overall, you want to have a more balanced and calm energy about you to everything that you bring, right? So I want to share with you a small situation that happened to me recently and how I was able to work through it when it comes to becoming overwhelmed. So I have a lot of things going on in my life right now, between launching my ebook that I'm about to launch, and there's so many back end things to it that need to get done, and it's a whole new world for me and a whole new process that I'm learning. So that alone is can be very overwhelming. Plus, I'm also getting ready to move out of the country in 3 weeks, and everything else that goes with it. So it's very easy to, have a lot of anxiety. So a couple of days ago, I was working on a project. I needed to get these emo series done, and I was working on the computer for hours. I was just sitting there, and I couldn't get this done for the life of me. It just wasn't coming out. I was getting more confused, more blocked, and I finally just had to stop and check in with myself and do that little thing that we talked about when I talked about intuition, which is listening to what your voice is trying to tell you. And so what I did was I asked myself, hey, what is it that I really want to do in this moment? I'm trying to get this email series done, but it's not working. It's not coming out for me. And even though I know that I really need to do it because it is a very important task, I just can't right now. So what else can I do right now that would make me feel really good? And in that moment, really what I wanted to do was I just wanted to lay in bed and watch a couple of stupid shows. And even though that can sound very counterproductive, and in the past I would have beat myself up for it, because I would have been like, oh my God, I need to get all this done. Like, I just can't do that. Or even if I did do it while I'm watching TV or doing that, I would still be stressing. So this time I just took a breath. I caught my thoughts in time, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna feed into them. I put my computer away and I just walked away, and I went to the room and I just decompressed and I just watched some stupid shows all night. The next morning I woke up, I had my coffee at 7 o'clock in the morning, sat in front of my computer, and guess what? Within 30 minutes, I was able to write all these email series that was taking me hours before, and it took me a whole day of being stuck and of getting frustrated, to letting it go, checking in with myself and doing something else. And then the next day, bam, I got it done like that. And so this is really, I've been doing this so much more ever since I got back from my travel trip. And it comes to the fact that I'm realizing, because I'm only focusing on the task at hand. And every time that my thoughts want to go into the future and into the big picture and, you know, everything that needs to get done, I just kind of bring myself back. So all in all, my tip to you and my advice to you is that one step at a time, only handle what you can at the moment, and when your mind wants to go into the future, into the big picture of everything that you need to get done, bring your thoughts back and recognize that the only control you have is in the moment. And if you're trying to do something and you're trying to force it with your will, but you still keep coming up against a bunch of walls, then take a moment and check in with yourself. Take a couple deep breaths and ask yourself, what could you do in this moment? What would feel really good for you to do right now? And whatever comes up for you, do it, trust it. And then, you know, it may be an hour later, or it may be like me, you know, 24 hours later, that I'm able to get the work done, and you're able to get what you need to get done. And usually the energy will be there, so you'll get it done a lot faster than if you would have just kept pushing through it and forcing yourself to do something that in that moment wasn't working for you. So I hope that this helps you not to become so overwhelmed, and I will talk to you soon. In the meantime, continue to communicate, connect, and create, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.